are listening to Three Kitchens, a member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Locally grown, community supported. Join your hosts Erin Walker, Heather Dyer, and Sarah Sundaram. What's cooking, ladies?
Hi, y'all. This is Ryan from the Eat More Barbecue podcast. I'm just a guy that loves slow smoked southern barbecue. I love eating it, I love cooking it, and I really love talking about it. I want to help grow the barbecue culture here in Alberta, and this podcast is a great way for me to share the stories of the people involved in the barbecue community, like restaurant operators and competitive barbecue cooks. Along the way, I also visit with other folks like farmers, distilleries, breweries, and anything of interest to barbecue people. A new episode comes out every Wednesday wherever you listen to podcasts. Keep on smoking, folks.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Three Kitchens. My name is Erin Walker and I'll be walking you through this wicked recipe.
How come that's never been said before?
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a new one.
Perfect.
And I am joined here with my hilarious and wonderful co-hosts, Heather Dyer and Sarah Sundaram. Hello, ladies.
Hello
there.
Hello.
So, Sarah, you had a little something you wanted to share with us.
So recently I signed up for, I guess, the streaming service called Hulu. And Hulu is actually just open to Americans. But if you as a Canadian want to know how to get that done, just ask your techie, savvy friends and they'll get you hooked up. And enough said. That's all I'm saying about that part. But I started watching this show that I had heard about, Gordon Ramsay, right? So it's Gordon, Gino, and Fred, and they're three chefs. Actually, they're two chefs, and the one guy he's a bartender, I guess. Like he makes drinks. Like, is there a word for? There must be a word for that.
Yeah, I think it's like a bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like he studies it and a mixologist. Yeah, okay, fine. You got to make it sound a little nicer. And he's also like, so Fred is from France, Gino's from Italy, and Gordon's from England. So they have these very, proud moments. Oh, sorry, Gordon's from Scotland, actually. So they have these very like country pride and a lot of representing their culture. So they all three rent this camper and they start exploring countries. So one country would be Greece. Then they explore their home countries. And then they even got to the States. And they piss a lot of people off with the way they drive, right? Because it's this huge camper, especially in European streets and stuff like that.
Anyone who's driving a rent-a-camper is pissing off everybody on the roads. I'll end my rant there.
It's just so funny because Gino's like the real eccentric guy who likes to take his clothes off and be nude as much as possible. And then there's Gordon
with
who's
food?
like completely no, like with swimming and
he's the Italian at the beach in the bright pink fluorescent thong.
No, he doesn't have a thong. That's the French guy. The French guy has the thong. Or the bright fluorescent, whatever, really tight Speedo. And then Gordon's, of course, like over covered up because he's like the uptight Scottish guy. And it's just so funny. And they go around cooking and they also learn about like the real pride of each country. So like things that you never would have thought about, like truffles from Greece or what they do with even learning more about Scotch from Scotland, right? Like it's quite cool. And then they take all these ingredients and then they cook something in the end with it. And Fred then makes a drink with it. And all I could think about was like, wow, three of us should get into a camper. I wonder how that would play out and who would be who and who would be mainly naked most of the time.
I think none of us.
Who would be fully clothed.
I'm pretty sure that my bathing suit is more conservative than some people's shorts. So... we should go on a road trip. We should make this like a tour.
Yeah, and record the whole thing because it's hilarious. Like the last episode I watched, I think Gino made breakfast and Gordon Ramsay thought it was shit and threw it out of the camp. But he did not use the word donkey, so
Oh,
it's very cute. And there are, I think, a couple of free episodes on YouTube.
oh,
So if you
okay.
guys have a chance, it's really cute.
That does sound like fun. Is
Yeah.
there
Check
anything
it
better
out.
than a road trip and then food with it?
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
love
perfect.
that.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's
Traveling
exactly
and
what we want
food.
to do.
That sounds like so much fun, Sarah. I love that.
It was fun. But I did have to say that they went to the States and they tried a cannabis
yeah.
meal.
Mhm.
And so with this meal, there was THC and there was CBD.
Yes.
Did I have that right? So they were putting like drops of THC on their food, depending on how would you say, like seasoned they
Comfortable.
were with cannabis, right?
Right.
And so Gordon Ramsay, who's I guess not seasoned, put like maybe half a drop. But Gino put like 12. And usually people stop at around 5 or 6.
Oh.
And it was, oh my God, so funny. So funny. I think if any one of them could have pulled that off, it was Gino, because he's remained funny, but even funnier.
Oh my God.
That was really cute.
That's
That's
really
the kind
cute.
of thing I would watch other people do, but would
Yeah.
never want to do myself. Like
You say that, and then you end
I
up
do
at a
say that.
restaurant.
Okay, well, Erin's going to cook us something that does not have any drugs in it.
This is a mind-altering drug that you're going to be consuming because it is so much carbs. It is going to be carbs with carbs. I am going to be diving back into my cookbook called A Cook's Tour of Italy. And I am making something that I know Heather has been asking, talking, dreaming about during her afternoon naps.
I wouldn't go that far, but I am very intrigued by this sound of this recipe.
This thing is like holy richness. Okay, so it is penne pasta in Timbale, Lucca style.
Okay, I only understood 2 words out of that, so.
Style and penne pasta.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm making pasta, a really creamy bechamel sauce,
Right?
and then I'm baking it all in a pie crust.
That's
so crazy.
It's just so crazy. It is
just
crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
I don't even know
Pasta
where to
in
begin with
pie.
this. It's
Yeah.
pasta in pie. And for all the nerds out there who want to celebrate Nerd Day with me, March 14th or 3/14, we call Pie Day. PI because
Mhm.
the value of pi in math is 3.14. So
She's making her excited face.
everybody get excited. Okay, so this is my extreme Pie Day recipe.
It's extreme.
When you say you're making pasta, are you making it from scratch or are you cooking up some pasta?
Don't even. Why would you even put that in her head?
Hey, that's a valid question. We're talking about Erin Walker.
It's true. But she might not have thought about it. Now she'd be like, oh,
Now
crap.
that you mention it, no, I am simply just cooking up
All right.
some.
Hey, no judging. I'm not
Pre-made
judging you for
pasta.
it. Just curious.
I don't think I want to, if it was anything other than like a penne pasta, I don't know. That sounds complicated to make because you got to
I hadn't thought
roll
about
it.
that.
Right.
You need more stuff.
That's true.
That word called time.
No thanks.
Well, for another episode, you can make us some of that.
No thanks.
Just putting that on your plate. I love it. As long as
Just planting seeds.
No, not making penne, but I am making tomato sauce. The tomato sauce is going to have some ground beef in it.
Meat.
Yes, so don't worry, it's all in here. There's meat, there's wine in the pasta sauce. Then I'm also going to be making this, it says bechamel sauce, and that is butter, flour, half and half, salt, pepper, and a little bit of nutmeg. You're going to cook some pasta, stir it into your pasta sauce, put that all into your pie crust, cover it with cheese and bechamel sauce, then a topping crust, so it's a double crust pie, and then it's going to bake in your oven and allow it to rest for 4 or 5 minutes before cutting into wedges.
Oh, I wonder if it holds together. I have this vision of it sort of like being real saucy and like soft. So I wonder if it
It could be like pasta soup.
Or
like a chicken pot pie, you mean? It could be like a chicken pot pie texture, or it could be like a pumpkin pie, like everything, or mince pie.
Like to cut it into a wedge makes it sound as though it'll hold its shape. So that's interesting.
This is quite the
Show us a
recipe.
Picture of what you see in the book. Oh,
this is my book with no pictures.
Oh, look with no pictures.
What was the other thing you made out of this book for us before?
My focaccia came out of here, and then there's a lentil soup in here that I like.
Yeah, super yummy.
The author, Joe Famularo, toured around Italy, going to all these restaurants and just kind of writing out menus from different places and developing recipes of those menus, or talking to the people that were there and getting their recipes. And so it's kind of like a road trip through Italy. There's a whole bunch of different parts, and I kind of like reading it like a book.
What part of Italy is a pasta pie from? Did he say in his story?
This is from the Jewels of Tuscany.
Oh. And is it a traditional thing they eat there, or is it something that some chef somewhere came up with? And
oh, let me read you the little yip yap at the beginning here. This is a typical dish from Lucca that is country style, a good hearty dish that is served as a first course, or it can be enjoyed as a main dish.
First course to wow. What is following a pasta and a pie? Wow.
I'm full. I can't eat my main.
So this is where you get the Italian grandmother who just keeps serving you more and more food and more food.
Put some meat on that bone, those bones. Yeah.
He wrote this as his first course meal. In addition, there was also veal scallops with ham and sage. Then the owner's roasted cauliflower and broccoli, followed by a peach cobbler and purple plum ice cream.
You mean this is like a 5-course meal that he said, oh, it would be good to put together?
This was the menu when he went to this restaurant.
It must be small portions, right? Like we're talking about a small piece of pie and a small...
In Europe, they usually are.
It says it serves 6 to 8 people, and it is not a small amount of food. 1/2 pound of pasta.
How do you fit that much pasta in the pie shell? Like, how deep is this pie plate you need to have?
That is a good question. I have not looked further to see.
You better check. It's cooked in a roasting pan or something.
I'm gonna need a new oven, guys.
Deep dish pizza. Did he give you a crust recipe as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, he says it'll be in a 9-inch baking pan. So
like a pie plate is not as deep.
I have a feeling this might be more along the lines of Ugly Delicious when I get done with it.
You don't know. It might be beautiful.
I'm going to probably make this in my square 9-inch baking dish that is deeper.
Yeah.
And that's what I make my chicken pot pie in. And I have to say, I make a pretty ugly chicken pot pie because I make everything and toss it together, and I do nothing nice to fold the crust or make it look pretty. Sarah's wincing as I say this.
No, I am not. See how I was not even changing expression.
You're not going to cut out shapes or lattice work with your pastry on the top of your pie and the flag of Italy, maybe.
I have tools.
So I think we're done with this half of the recording.
Okay. So you're not borrowing anything.
Because I'm not getting talked into any insanity from you two, because I do enough of that.
She's already skipping out on making pasta. Now she's not even making it look pretty. What's happening? It's February. She's tired.
Listen, if we make it to Tuesday, listeners, the kids are home for a 5-day long 5-day
extremely lengthy period of time. Yep. No, I think I might not make the prettiest pasta pie here, but I think it's going to be a tasty, delicious way to carb load yourself up.
Go forth. Make the pie. I'll be Fred and I'll make the drink.
Just keep your clothes on. Whoever's the nudist, I can't remember which one.
Wasn't Fred, but he's close. He's French.
We'll just assume Sarah's going to be the nudist here.
No. See you on Pie Day.
Cold drafts, flickering lights, and where's that leak coming from? If you've ever wondered what's really going on in your home, Roomies Ask a Home Inspector service can help.
Connect with a certified professional home inspector by phone or video call and get your questions answered. Rumi will let you know what's easily fixable with a little DIY or when you might need to call in some professional help.
Visit rumi.ca. That's RUMI.ca and book your Ask a Home Inspector appointment today.
All right, we're back. We've got this pasta pie dealio.
We've got pasta pie bellies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to jump right into talking about how it was made. So many comments about the actual dish itself.
I know.
Okay, let's see if we can do this. Okay, so I made my own tomato sauce.
Nice.
It was a little bit of a laborious process. After cooking up all the tomatoes, onions, celery, salt and pepper, tomato paste, and then it says pass it through a food mill. I don't know about you. I don't have a food mill.
What is a food mill?
So I Googled what is a food mill and how do I substitute it.
Okay.
It's something that grinds and strains.
Oh.
So if you don't have a food mill, the suggestion is blend it and pass it through a sieve.
Right.
Okay.
Holy moly, that took a lot of time.
Putting just about anything through a sieve takes time.
Pretty much anything through sieve. And like you had to sit there and like massage it through.
Yeah.
With a spoon.
I used a spatula. I blended it all up really good. I passed it through the sieve. I then took the remains that were left in the sieve and blended them up again and then passed them through the sieve again. It took a whole bunch of time because it wanted 2 to 3 cups of tomato sauce. So I ended up getting about 3 cups. So it was great. And instead of using canned tomatoes, I used fresh tomatoes, despite being very plain because there was no other seasoning in it, just salt and pepper, celery, onion, tomatoes, sugar, tomato paste. It was tasty.
So this was from the same cookbook.
Everything came from this one recipe in this cookbook. So it's got everything detailed out in it. So after you've made your tomato sauce, you fry up your ground beef and then you add it into this strained sauce with some wine and you cook it for about 40 to 45 minutes is what they said. Let it simmer. And then finish it with a tablespoon of butter and then season to taste with salt.
Okay.
Really yummy. I quite liked this tomato sauce. I thought it was, again, plain, but tasty. I didn't find a whole bunch of it in the pasta coming through with the flavor because I think there were so many other flavors going on.
There was one predominant flavor, but we'll get to that. It's the thing I want to talk about.
I can't wait to hear this. Okay. Let's get through this as fast as possible. Okay, then you make your pastry for the pie shell.
Right.
In my entire time of cooking for the last 20 years that I've been cooking, I have only ever used one pie pastry recipe. Same one.
Okay.
I've got it memorized. I know exactly how to make it, how it works, how it comes together. So I decided instead of using my tried and trusted pie recipe, I would use this one.
I don't know why I'm laughing. But I'm laughing.
Oh, I know why you are. I know why you're laughing.
This pastry, okay, it could be good with something else. I did not like it in this. For the pastry, I gotta remove my opinions out of this because I have such a strong Okay, so my pastry that I typically make is flour, salt, water, butter. 4 things. That's it. That's the pastry I make. It works for everything. It is flaky. It's crispy. I love it. So you make this pastry. It has flour, sugar, very little salt, butter, 2 eggs, and lemon zest. Y'all following me with that?
Yeah.
Does it sound like anything like the other pastry I make? No. Okay.
Can I tell you what I'm just dying to talk about this pastry.
No.
Okay. Just give me the cue when you want me to say what I thought.
Okay. This pastry I think would be great for a sweet pie. This pastry did not work for a savory pie. Heather, how did you feel about this pastry?
I thought this pastry was a wonderful sugar cookie.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I gave you that piece. So our listeners know, when I finished making the pie, I had some dough left over. So I rolled it out and just crudely cut it into some pieces and tossed it in the oven and baked it. I don't even know for how long. I seriously was just like opening and closing the door and shaking the pan until it looked done. And I took it out and I was like, these look like delicious little cookies. The whole time I was making it, had half a cup of sugar in this pie dough. And I was like, this is messed up. I need to know what this dough tastes like on its own. After I baked the pie, I had to bake up this leftover dough to see what it tasted like. And that's why I packed you these little like cookie slabs.
Yes, I thought, what is this extra piece of something she gave us? It looked like just a cut off piece of a rolled out cookie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this must be from the pastry. Clearly, she's not making cookies too. So I eat it and I'm like, this is one of the best lemony sugar cookies I've ever had.
It was really good.
It was sweet and lemony and tasty. But what is this with a savory pie? You don't put meat and pasta in with sugar cookie. It was so weird. So weird.
I did not like that flavor combination at all.
So I kept eating the pie that you gave. Okay. And I kept thinking, oh, some of that sugar cookie must have crumbled into this pie because there's something sweet in here. And like, I couldn't figure out for the longest time, what is the sweet stuff? So I was like deconstructing it. I'm like, is it the sauce? Is it that little white creamy?
Oh yes, the white
bechamel, or was it like the pasta? I was like, took me a while.
You're like, why is this lemony? What, like my husband we shared the pie because he ate the bechamel because I wasn't really. So I did try it, but I didn't want to eat too much of it. And he was like, this is a very lemony pasta. This is very strange. He liked it. He kept eating it, but he was like, I don't understand the combination.
I actually didn't mind the combination.
I didn't either. Like as a whole, I thought it was interesting. I thought
as a whole, it was kind of nice. Like, because the lemony sweetness cut through that fattiness of the everything else. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't. Yeah. I don't know that I'd eat it again, but it wasn't bad.
I don't think I'd eat it again.
I would use a different crust for sure next time.
Yeah.
I would like to have used, my good old pie crust that I always make. Because this one I was like, what is this?
I wonder why the recipe has a sweet crust like that. Doesn't say anything about it.
No.
Who's to know? And then probably different families do it different ways, right?
I assume so.
Some might like a sweeter crust. Some might like a more savory one.
Or if it's a regional thing,
maybe. Or a family thing, even like stuffing. Like
it could just be a family thing, yeah. The pastry, I would like to try this pastry though with like a sweet pie because I kind of liked how it was a cookie. I would like to try this with a sweet pie. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to try and make a cherry pie with that crust because I think that would be yum.
Yeah, that would, because cherries are a little bit tart. And you don't want something that's like uber sweet filling with the sweet crust. Oh, I think that'd be great.
Agreed.
Because it's pie day. So we have to have more pie. Right. Yeah. And then, so I made the bechamel sauce. I used sour cream in it. So it was totally sour cream. I think I could have put way less of the bechamel sauce in. I thought there was way too much of that, in my opinion, as well.
I thought it was good. You know what would have balanced it out is maybe more of that tomato sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it could have been saucier with the tomato sauce.
I like the tomato sauce. I would make that with pasta. Like that sounds, even though it's labor intensive, I think there must be something in that process that makes it a good sauce, because I thought that was the part of it that I could get out of it. Yeah, it was really tasty.
I really liked that tomato sauce. I would give this another try. I would do my own change up on things. I think I would take out the bechamel sauce. I didn't think it added anything. And my children are, for some reason, terrified of anything white sauce wise when it comes to food. So as soon as they saw it, it was immediately rejected. I think they took a small bite and they were like, oh, this is the grossest thing ever. So really? I was like, oh great. So it was immediately rejected in my house.
Oh, what did your husband think?
He was like, well, I don't think you could have done a better job making it. I was like, oh, here it comes.
I like and then the voice goes hi, and then you know where it's going.
Exactly. He said it tastes okay. We had some leftovers because, again, it was rejected by the family, and he was like, I don't think I want to eat this as leftovers. And I said, it's okay. I don't think I do either.
No, we ate it the next day.
That's right. I was going to ask how that went for you.
Yeah, and I put it in the oven to warm it up, and it was a bit dry. I would say that it doesn't I think it'd be better right out of the oven.
Right.
When the sauce was probably creamier. I don't think the bechamel held up.
It didn't make
reheated.
it. Yeah. Yeah. So if I was to make this again, I would take out that sauce. I would put more of the tomato sauce in.
You would completely take out the bechamel sauce?
I think so.
Because of your family. Okay.
Because my kids just hate it. I would just put the cheese. There was bechamel and then there was cheese sprinkled on top. And then the crust went on and then it baked. I think just putting the cheese on top. I would do more of the tomato sauce because I liked that tomato sauce a lot. And then I would keep my pastry dough.
Yeah.
Right.
Because for me, a pastry has to be kind of salty and flaky, not sweet and crunchy. The way I make it, it's 1 1/4 cup of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 cup of butter, and about 1/4 cup of water, cold water to bring it together. But I mean, again, that's just kind of, it should be a crumbly mess in the bowl that looks like it's never going to come together. And then you pop it out on your counter, you press it around a couple times, and then you have a dough you can roll out. And
look at that. She does know it by heart.
Even the measurements. I thought she was going to be like, it's by feel, and you just a pinch of this and a little of that. You'll know when you know. You know how people, when they just instinctively know a recipe and they say like, well, you'll just know. You'll just know. It's like BS.
And again, I keep my butter cold in the fridge and then I grate it and mix it in. That's I've only ever used one, and that's a single crust. So I guess if you want to make a double crust, because this has the crust on top.
Oh, gotcha.
It's 2 1/4 cup flour, 2/3 of a cup of butter, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and about 1/2 cup of water.
Oh, a good fast math.
Can you hear the clapping?
Mental math.
I had my coffee this morning and I can still add numbers.
I've had my coffee and I would not have been able to do that fast. No,
me either. Nope.
Honestly, it was more off of memory than math, because honestly, this is the only pie crust I ever make.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. Well, this was so interesting and I was so curious about it. I'm really glad you made it because I think it's such a unique sort of recipe. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that this sort of recipe would be great for like in the fall, you know, with the first snowfall when it first gets cold. And it's one of those that I think it's a good comfort food.
Yeah.
Right?
When you want that big bowl of carbs or whatever, like you. Yeah.
Or if you're going to go run a marathon tomorrow and you have to carb load, this is the meal that is going to give you all the carbs that you ever want. And you know what? It's kind of fun to do something
different,
a little bit out there for.
Exactly.
We had a pasta
pie.
So
it's fun to say.
Pie.
Exactly.
Pasta pie.
A pasta pie baked in a cookie. It's
so
just that crust. No, it was fun. I had so much fun making this. It's been something we've talked about for so long, but I feel like no matter what it came out of, I think I might have been a little bit disappointed just because the hype had been there for so long. But overall, I think you could bake pasta in a pie crust and it's a totally worthy meal for Pie Day or any other day.
Good job, Erin.
Yes, it's really fun.
Thank you for joining me on this journey.
And now for the fine print. We at Three Kitchens gratefully acknowledge we are telling these stories in the traditional territories of the Treaty 7 nations in southern Alberta and the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. We honor the rich tradition of oral storytellers on this land who have come before us. You can find pictures and recipe links on Instagram and Facebook at Three Kitchens Podcast. If you like and subscribe on your podcast player, that helps more people find us.